We're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this session, Leveraging Google Sites in the Adult ESOL Classroom. So now I'd like to welcome and introduce our presenter, Pamela Jo Wilson. She is the ESOL Academic Support Coordinator with the School District of Palm Beach County's Department of Adult and Community Education. On top of being a presenter at conferences throughout Florida, Pamela works hard to provide teachers with creative resources through Google and other free sites. With that, I'll pass it over to Pamela. Thank you for joining us today, Pamela.
Thank you very much, Aisa, and welcome everybody. It's nice to be here on this very hot and muggy South Florida day. What a pleasure it is to be here, and thank you for joining this session. All right, I'm excited to get started, and you should be seeing on my screen right now a welcome screen, and I would just love to get to know a little bit about who is in the room. So there is a link that's in the chat. There should be a link in the chat. So if you don't mind, can you go ahead for me, please, and click on that link and go ahead and respond to that survey. I just want to know a little bit about you. And the responses will be gathering on the screen so that you can see and get to know a little bit about the other people in the room as well. So if you could just take a minute to do that for me, please, I would appreciate it. Thank you. I see them coming in. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we have a few correctional, not correctional. Okay, very good. Administrators, nice. Tutors, okay. A couple of programs with over 100 people. A few programs. All right, great. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to refresh this screen now so that you can see what I am seeing. Very nice. Keep them coming, please. Nice. Quite a few tutors in here. Okay. All right. Nice. Okay, very nice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so as you can see, I am not presenting from a PowerPoint. I have not presented from a PowerPoint in a very long time. I've actually gone to presenting directly from Google Sites because I think it's so much fun to do to present from Google Site. I have also like to be able to model everything that I'm talking to you about. So that's another reason why I'm doing it. So everything that I'm telling you today, you will be seeing it live as I'm going through and doing that as well. All right, so thank you for responding to those questions. Thank you very much. Now, it is imperative that we as adult educators move with the times as it's happening right now, and actually COVID-19 has forced us to do so. But what a wonderful thing, because digital literacy was on the horizon for our learners and was well overdue. So COVID-19 has essentially forced us into this digital literacy age for our learners. And so now, you know, we can pride ourselves in being able to say that we are preparing our learners with 21st century skills that they're going to need. And so I'm going to back up this page a little bit and let it refresh itself. And I'm going to go back to my main page to read a quote for you. This is going to be our agenda for today. We're going to talk about digital literacy, the G Suite for Education. We're going to take a look at some sample Google sites and their purpose. We're going to take a little time to build a site, we're going to look at some other programs that can be integrated into a Google site, as well as security settings and publishing, and more student examples. And as we dive into this, I know some of this is a little threatening for everyone, but I'm a strong proponent of the power of yet. So if you've ever felt like you can't do this, or you're not good at this, you don't understand this, it doesn't work, I feel pressured, I'm not making any sense, I just want to encourage you to add the word yet to the end of all of those statements, because you will be able to do this as long as we persist and write it right along with our learners. We will be able to do this. So go ahead and add the word yet and engage in growth mindset as we dive into this. Just want to remind us that for our learners, it is going to be critical to have digital literacy in order to obtain and keep family sustaining jobs. Really and truly, there is no place you can go right now where the application form is not digital or is not technology. So our learners really need to be exposed to this. Our learners really need to know this in order to help their children to participate in school, and in order to be able to persist and go to further education and training. So this quote came from Harris in 2015, and it is really encouraging us to dive in and give our learners these skills in addition to the English language skills that we're giving them in the ESOL classroom. So English language skills plus digital literacy skills is gonna equate to more opportunities for our learners. Also, a really interesting quote is that, you know, many of our learners, as well as our instructors, are digital immigrants, you know, and not digital natives, because it's not something that comes natural to us. So we have to grow into this technology right along with our students, some of us, and that makes it a little bit easier because you can relate to the learner in as much as the learner can relate to you, as long as there's no fear, and then you can grow together to become digital natives. So that is like our new normal. So as you can see, this is my Google site, and you're actually in the background with me, in the back office with me, and you're looking at the home tab as well as another tab, and everything that I'm going to do today is going to be done from these tabs. So this is essentially my agenda. Okay, so I'm going to do one more quick check-in. Let me see, I said 19 people say they know a little bit about this. I already have, never heard of it. Okay, well, before we do the check-in, let's continue on to the integrations. All right, I want to show you right now some sample websites and show you what can be accomplished through Google Sites, so you can just get a taste of what this platform can do. So I'm going to click through some sample sites. And believe it or not, all of these sites were built on Google's free platform, Google Sites, by people who are not technology people, just common people like you and myself. This happens to be the Google site that we use in Palm Beach County for adult ed teachers for all of our programs. And this was built by all of our program leads and support staff. And that's just one example of a Google site. Another example of a Google site is our PD site that was built to house several of our professional development programs that took place in Palm Beach County. And as we wait for it to spin up, here we go. So this also is another Google site that was built to support our teachers in Palm Beach County. Another website built by Google site, built completely on Google site, free, Palm Beach ESOL, built completely on a Google site, free. And another one just to give you an idea of what these look like, and then how easy they are to build. So this is another website built completely on a Google site. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to continue on and show you some of the things that you're able to do to use the Google site in your classroom. These are actual work that were done by students in an adult ed classroom. This was submitted by a teacher at one of our sites. And this is actual work that was done by students in a project-based learning assignment. This is a leaderboard of badges that was created by a teacher to help to give feedback to the learners on what they're doing each week. So the learner's identity is kept private using the last 3 digits of their student number. And what this is, it's like a leaderboard where the learner gets to check in each week to see how well they're doing. And it's essentially feedback to them to say, you know, we see you, we see that you're attending class, and we also see that you're participating in the Google Classroom assignments. In Palm Beach County, we went to Google Meet and Google Classroom for a virtual platform when we transitioned to online learning. And then in the last column, we encourage the learners to vote on a student of the week. And so this also becomes another artifact that's placed on a Google Classroom that the learner can access each week and see progress that they're making, in addition to learning civic skills such as voting. Now, this was created from another Google application. It was created from Google Sheets and integrated into the Google site. Here is another example of a Google site, and this was the project-based learning activity. This is the result of student work, actually. A teacher assigned a project, and one of the things that they needed to do was create a website as an end product. They were doing the unit on housing, and so this was actually created by students. So now we're really activating the higher order thinking skills, because they have to come up with ideas and solutions and work together in teams to create this artifact. Another sample is another website. And this is one of our local sites, and we're using this website we use this for orientation of the learners when they came in, to orient them to all of the resources that we were going to use for our virtual trainings, our virtual meetings. We have a tab that allows them to meet the team that's at that site. We included another tool that's made from a Google app. It's a Excel sheet that we use to create a translator to embed in that site to make the language accessible for the learner so that they're able to translate. And we have access to the classroom and the Google Meet. And in addition to that, we have videos for extra practice, because on a Google site, you can embed videos seamlessly, and the learner can actually play the video from within the site. They don't have to go out of the site. They can actually hit play within the site and listen to the video. So we have a learning corner with videos with best practices that's embedded on this Google site. In addition, we've provided a tab, and you will notice that on this site, the tabs are on the side, and I will show you how to do that in a few minutes, whereas earlier on the tabs were at the top. On this site, we also have a page that offers them links to more practice, supplemental resources that they can click to at their own pace in their own time, so that would be asynchronously, they could go ahead and click into these links and these resources and access things that they can further use for practice. Also on this site, I'm going to click on this tab, is a page that shows a schedule and a calendar. Because again, a calendar is a Google product, and so you can embed a calendar into a Google website. And so the learner has access at all times to what's coming, what's going on, because if they click on this tab, they can see their calendar and they will always know what's taking place in class. On this tab is a kudos corner. And it's so important, again, especially on this virtual platform, to really see the learners and recognize the learners, especially if we want to impact the retention. Because when we see them and acknowledge their effort, they put out more effort to try to be there. So this is one of the things that we do in order to tell the learner, you know, we see you coming each night, we see you making your attempts on Burlington. So in addition, these stars and this record is then added to the badges that they earn, so that they can keep track of how they're doing in that way. And then also in this website, just to show you how we can embed stuff further, is the YouTube video again, but we can also embed, oh, and it's not showing here. Oh, there it is. There it is. We can also embed Flickr. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Flickr, but Flickr is a nice tool for practicing speaking and listening. And right now we're encouraging our learners to use it. And then we're using this platform to help them to access what they're going to do. But not just that, we can also use it to feature. Once they record their videos, we can embed the videos into the website and then have a feature where this now becomes like a video blog. So this is another example of how a Google site was used to engage our learners, to keep our learners informed, to keep them, you know, within the communication, to just constantly be communicating with them, and to provide them with access to who they need to reach out to if they need to reach out to someone. And this site, in addition, can also be linked into a Google Classroom. If in your county you're using Google Classroom as your learning management system, you can add this into your Google Classroom so that the learners click right out of the Google Classroom and onto this site. If you're meeting otherwise, like Remind or WhatsApp, you can put the link into those resources as well, so that the learner can click right into this spot right here. So that's just another example of a Google site that we're using with our learners just to leverage the virtual atmosphere that we're in right now. So with that said, I am going to continue. And we're going to move to the build. How do we build this? How do we get that? How do we do this? Okay, oops, I'm in the right place. All right. So first of all, you're going to need a Google account. That's the first thing. You're going to need a Google account in order to build a Google site. The great news is it can be a personal account. So if you don't have a Google account right now, you can actually create a Google account. And once you create that Google account, you are ready to build a site, a Google site. You're also going to need an internet to build a site, and a sense of adventure. You have to be adventurous on this because you're going to be playing around a lot. Remember, you don't have to be techie, you just have to be adventurous, because it's that simple. So to create a site, once you have your Google account, you would go to Chrome, and then you would go to Drive and click on New, More, and then you will see Google Sites. Google Sites. Oops. So good that it's so good that I'm live, because now I can correct this, because this says Drive and it should say Sites. All right, and then you'll go to Google Sites. Another way that you can do this is through the app selector. You can click on the app selector, and the app selector, which is the four dots usually up in this corner, and then you can click on sites, and then you click on the new Google Sites. The thing with using the app selector is that it's going to take you to an older version of Google Sites, and then you have to select Google Sites. And then finally, I want to give you the shortcut, because who does not like a good shortcut? The best way and the easiest way to create a site is simply to go to your browser and type sites.new. Sites.new, and you will be inside the platform where you will be able to create a new site. Now, once you're inside the platform, you're going to see some tabs that will give you the opportunity to do certain things, like insert. Everything that I showed you on the sites, the sample sites that I showed you earlier on, the videos, the Excel sheets, the pictures, the badges, everything that was inserted on a website, what you would use here to insert your text, insert content from Drive, embed videos. This would be the tab. And actually on the right-hand side of my screen, you're looking at the tab right there, the insert tab. The next tab would be the pages tab, and the pages tab, well, let's stay here for insert. Let me just talk about this for a little bit. The insert tab, I talked about pictures, but also it helps you to do layouts. And most recently, Google Sites added templates to their layouts, because before you had to create your own, but now they have templates, and we'll see that in a little bit. But on this tab, you're able to select how you want certain areas of the website to look, and it helps you to align it a lot easier. So if you click here, it will be two boxes side by side versus you having to create the boxes and put them side by side. So these are all layouts that you can use. Google Site also gives you the opportunity to do collapsible text, and I'll show you what that looks like. Table of contents, an image carousel, buttons, dividers. All of these are things that you can insert into your Google site. And did I say it was free? Did I mention that? All free. Okay. Which educator does not like free? So all of those functions you're able to have on your Google site. The next tab, the Pages tab, is where you create all the tabs that we were looking at on our website, both at the top or on the side. So you get to create your tabs here, like right now we're looking at the Leveraging Google Sites tab, and then you're able to create sub tabs here. So here we can click, and it gives you the opportunity to do sub pages. So this is my main page, this is the home page, then this is my main page, and then all of my agenda items are my sub pages. Okay. Then one more thing, and this was added recently. When you're adding pages, not only can you add pages, you can actually add a website as a page. So if you have a website that you go to frequently and you wanted to make it be a part of your website, you can actually add a web link so that when you click on that tab, it goes directly to that web page. So these samples that you're looking at with the link were actually links to the web pages that I showed you. All right, so that's the pages. Now the themes. The themes just dictate what your color is going to look like, what your outline, what your layout here is going to look like. It's like any regular theme, what your font is going to look like. So you have the opportunity of choosing between these themes if you get ready to design your website from scratch without the help of a template. It's not that many. I'm hoping that they will come with more, but I think the way they compensated was that they gave us a few templates to work with. All right, so those are like the three primary buttons that we have here to work with: insert, pages, and themes. All right, now I want to do just one more check-in because I gave you some information earlier on, and I want to see if you remember what I said. So I'm going to put a link in the chat, and I would like you to respond to this one question right here. And the one question is, how do I launch? How do I launch the construction page to build a Google site? How do I launch the construction page to build a Google site? So go ahead, it's a multiple choice question. I put the link in the chat. Click on the link in the chat and then you will be able to answer that question for me. And I'm looking at it over here. And while you're doing that, I'm going to bring this into my screen so you can see the responses that came in earlier.
Pamela, we also have a couple of questions
Okay.
if you would like to take some time to answer them while everybody's filling it out.
Mm-hmm.
So someone did ask if they will be sent a link to see the responses on the form.
Yes. Yes, they will be sent a link.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And next question is from Kathy. We're using Canvas for our learning platform at Tallahassee Community College. Can sites built on Google Sites be embedded into Canvas?
Yes. I'm almost certain of that, yes. It's very functional. It's very functional.
And we've got one more question from Dana. Any suggested minimum capability for mobile devices or Wi-Fi network bandwidth? Many of my students don't have computers at home and rely on mobile devices when they aren't in class, especially now.
That's a great question. That's a wonderful question. And while the answers are coming in over here, let me move this out of the way and let me show you, let me go back to the Let's Build for a little bit. And for the person that asked that question, this platform is mobile friendly. It's mobile ready. So when you build it out, it gives you the opportunity to preview what you're building. This button right here at the top, it gives you the opportunity to preview. So I'm going to press that right now so you can see. Let me move this out of the way. And right here, it gives you the opportunity to see what it will look like on a mobile device. And so that's what this looks like right now. It gives you the opportunity to see what it will look like on a tablet and then on a computer. So before you publish, you have the opportunity to take a look at what your site will look like. So this is what my site would look like published. I've had you in the construction zone all this time where you're seeing behind the scenes. But when I hit on the preview button, I can see what it's going to look like. So yes, you can use this on a mobile device, and you can, once they pull up the website, they can click add shortcut to my home screen and it becomes like a web link. I hope that answers your question. All right, so I have a response to the number 2. All of the above, 30 people said all of the above, and that's correct. All of the above were ways that you could get to the construction zone. Thank you very much for participating in that. All right, so I'm going to page down because there's some more things I want to show you. You just did check-in number 2. There's some more things that I'm going to show you on this page. And it has to do with settings. When you build this site, you have the opportunity to decide who you want to see the site. You can limit it to a number of people. If you want to build a site for just 5 people, you're able to set up your settings so that just those 5 people have access. If you want to build your site so that just people in your organization have access, then you can limit your settings to your organization. And then also you can make your site public for anyone to see. So in the settings tab right here, this gives us the opportunity to this is up in this corner here. It's not, I need to, whoa, sorry. Let me move my screen over a little bit more. I'm not seeing my settings tab. All right, let me just continue. In the settings, whoops. In the settings tab, you are able to set up whether or not you want your tabs to be on the top or on the bottom. And you're also able to decide whether or not you want to put a banner across the top, what colors you want to show, etc., etc. You're also able to put a logo up in this corner through that settings tab. Okay. Through the other tab, and I'm sorry, I'm flicking all over the place. I hope I'm not giving you whiplash. Through the share settings, this is what I mentioned earlier on, you are able to restrict, you're able to keep draft, you're able to add editors so that other people are working on the website at the same time you are. The website that I showed you earlier on that we use in Palm Beach County to support our teachers, there are several of us that work on it at the same time as editors and content creators. And so we share that together. And then we are also able to publish it just within the county or public so that anyone outside can see it. So you don't have to worry about your settings and restrictions and being forced to make it public. You have that option as to how you want that to appear on the World Wide Web. You don't have to make it public to the World Wide Web. Okay, so once you click on publish, it also gives you settings here, and in your publish settings, you get to name your site. You get to give it a name, and you get to set further restrictions. Okay, and you also have the opportunity to unpublish, which I think is nice. You can unpublish if you decide, you know, I no longer want my site published. You have that option as well. So there are a lot of options on here, and I just dropped this in here because I think it's such a, when you're thinking project based and when you're thinking of getting your learners involved in this project and developing their digital skills, I believe we're really tapping into all of these skills here on this chart. And so I dropped it in here just for reference for anybody that may want to check that out. All right. So now I would like to share some resources, and I would like to invite you, if you have a Google account and you can open up a second tab, if you can open up that second tab and walk through with me. Or if you don't have, you can walk through with me by using this account. But I am going to go live now and start building a website. So if you want to do hands-on, you're more than welcome to open up another tab and join me on your Google account so we can do this together. So of course, I'm going to open a tab and I'm going to use the shortcut which is sites.new. Sites.new. Okay. Let me close some of these so that it's not straining. All right, and I like to call this a newborn baby. I like to call this a newborn, and I say, congratulations, you have a new baby. And now we just need to dress it up and make it look nice. All right, so this is what every single one of those websites that I showed you earlier on started out looking like. This is what they look like, just like this, all right? And you have the opportunity to now build this out and make it look like what you want it to look like. So we have the 3 tabs where we can insert our layouts and the pages and the themes. But let's start with a page title. To create your page title, you just select here. Let's just call this FLVC 2020. It's as simple as that. So you can call it whatever you want to call that. You want name your site whatever you want to name your site. You can also change the image that's behind by clicking here. And you can either upload an image or you can select an image from their image library or image gallery. So I'm going to go ahead and select an image from their gallery. This is a very popular one, so I'll go ahead and select that. That's it. Okay, and you have your background. Now, if you don't want the wording to be on your image, you can actually just find the little dots right here and drag this off of the image and give it its own spot right here, its own cell. You can also change the color of the cell right here. And the default for this is blue. The default for this is blue is because it's defaulted to a theme. I did not select a theme, it's just defaulted there right now. These icons on the side mean paint. It's a palette for colors. You can duplicate. If you click here, it duplicates that, that panel, as well as delete or delete. So it's real simple. Paint for color, duplicate, and delete. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not liking that. I want to put Florida literacy. I want to spell it out. These dots on the edge of the text box give you the opportunity to size the text box. In addition, there is a tool bar that comes up above your text box and it gives you further options. Right now, this is in the title size. The size of this is title. I can make it smaller. Title is the biggest, so I can make it heading and heading will make it smaller. If I want to go even smaller, I can make it subheading and it gets smaller. So this gives you the opportunity to size your text. Let's go ahead and keep it at least heading, okay? When you're at heading, you have more options like bold and indent and center and link. You can actually take this and click on link, and let's say you can connect this to the actual Florida Literacy Coalition website. So that once you take a look, once you launch your website and this is here, someone could click on this link and it would take them to Florida Literacy Coalition. That's the options that this text box offers you when it's in the heading. Okay, let's play around with the insert tab some more. The insert tab, you can insert a text box. So if you click on text box, it appears right there. It's similar to this text box, but that's just another way to do it. You can also click on images and you can select an image from by searching, or you can upload. So let's select, and you can do an image search. So let's say I want to put books or bookshelf, because Florida literacy is about books. All right, so you can actually search for books, click whichever one you want, and if you want more than one, you can actually click multiple and it will insert whatever you click. So let's just go with the first one. That's nice. And I insert the image and it comes right there. Okay. I can also embed videos. So let's say I want to go embed a video from YouTube or a website. I could actually go to YouTube and get the video and embed the video. All right, so you would just click on this. I'm going to click on that and it shows you what it looks like. So you can embed either by URL or by an embed code. If you're familiar with coding and all that kind of stuff, sometimes the websites will give you an embed code. Either way is fine, and you can do them both. The surveys that I did earlier on were embedded using a URL. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Let me go get a link. The same link that I shared in the chat box. I'm going to go get that link. And I can click embed here. But how about another shortcut? Another shortcut to access text box, images, embed, and drive would just be to double click on the spot. Let me do that again. Double click and the options come up just like that again. So as you can see, here's the embed code, here's the image code, upload, text box, and drive. So I'm going to embed the survey that I just showed you. It's a URL, so I'm going to use a URL, paste, and there it is. And if you were actually on this site, you can complete the survey on the website once you embed it. So that's what the embed does. The drive allows you to go and access files from your drive to embed on your website as well. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the layout. I'm going to delete this right now because it's, well, let's do this. You can actually drag a layout or click on the layout and it appears in the bottom. So you could drag it to where you want it to appear, but if you click on it, it's going to typically appear at the bottom. And what it does is it keeps it aligned for you. So now you can actually click on this and put an image. And click the plus, put an image, and then type text to describe the image. You can also add a video there as well. So you can actually play around with all of these because it's that simple. You click and drag, or you just double click and it will come on the page for you to work with. The image carousel will allow you to add several photographs. And I'm going to show you this because one of my colleagues in Palm Beach County added a carousel to one of her pages that she moderates. So I'll show you what it looks like real quickly. On our literacy page. Kudos to Lisa. This is what the carousel looks like. So you're able to embed and it moves automatically. And you can actually tell it what speed you want it to move to. So you could just put several pictures here and the carousel will just rotate those pictures for you. And remember, this is a free site and it's able to do that for you. All right. Okay. Whoops. Oh, I closed out my site while I was doing the. All right. Reminder, if you do think, don't ever do that. Click on a tab before you open up another link. I do that all the time. Okay, so here's the site. So that's adding a carousel. You can also add table of contents and collapsible text. And I have other examples of what the collapsible text look like also over here on our page right here. I can show you what the collapsible text look like. That's what that is. So you can have a topic and then subtopics and it collapses, just like on other websites. All right, so these are collapsible by level. Did I do that again? Oh, here we are. Okay, so that's what the collapsible text is. And divider, placeholder, all of these are just other functions that you can embed into your form to make it look like what I showed you with all of those other sample forms. This sheet, the badges, the form, and even charts, that you can embed charts into a website so you can see graphs And I have an example of that right here. So you can embed graphs and charts into your website as well. And of course, the graphs and the charts come from your form after you've created a chart from the form. All right, let's go to the other tab. What's my time look like? Oh, let's go to pages and go ahead and you can put your questions in the chat box and we will talk about it afterwards, but let's talk about pages for a bit. All right, so pages, as you can see, it automatically creates the home button for you. So that's already here. We have home. So this is where now we want to go ahead and create our additional pages. So to do that, we're going to click on the plus. Just a reminder that you have two options when you click on the plus. You can do a link or you can actually create a page. So if I want to create a link, I would click on link and it will ask me to name the link that I'm clicking on. Let's say let's do. Oh, I don't think that's right. Is that right, Nicole? Let me go get that.
That looks correct.
Oh, it is? Awesome. All right, so done. So I want you to notice that next to my home button is now Florida Literacy Coalition. Don't be like me. Please use your capital letters for this proper name. So now Florida Literacy Coalition becomes one of my pages, except that it's not a page on the website. It's a page that if I click into it, it's going to open a new tab and take me to Florida Literacy Coalition. So that you are able to create pages to external websites if you want to. You are also able to create a new page. So let's say we're doing 2021 essay book. No links here because this is actually going to be a page on this page. Click done and it joins the list as available tabs that we can click on. Okay. Now, let's take a look over here at pages. Of course, you're going to populate, you're going to go back to your insert, and you're going to insert all of the things that you would want to populate on this brand new 2021 page. You can change the image if you want to. You can change the font if you want to. You can move this off of that if you want to. But let's take a look at some of the functionality that's on pages. Pages allows you to hide a page until you're finished creating it. So you can actually hide from navigation. So when I hit hide from navigation, notice how it disappeared? No one will see that until you unhide it. The more buttons over here as well allows you to make that page the home page. So it would bump this home page and make this the home page instead. If you have a template, which sometimes I do that, I make templates, especially if it's a PD event, and I know I'm going to use it over and over again. You can create a template and hide it at the bottom, and then you can duplicate for each season or each region or each time that you do a PD that's similar. You just duplicate page, and all it does is it makes a copy of the page. Properties allows you to rename your page. And then Subpage is the other one that you really want to be interested in. Subpage is almost like the collapsibles that we looked at earlier on, in that you can now create subpages to a page. So for example, if I want to create a subpage to the essay book, I would click on Subpage and I would put previous years. I'm promoting an essay book. I'm Nicole. And then that appears as a subpage under this page. Now let me unhide it so you can see how it looks on the tab. Show in navigation. Here it is. I have to unhide the subpage as well. Unhide the subpage, show in navigation. So now you're going to have a drop down. So you can actually create as many drop downs, as many subpages as you want under a page, so that you don't have everything going across and crowding your page. All right. So pages, that's basically all there is to pages. This is where you're going to do all of your content creation. This is where you're going to decide, you know, what your audience is going to see, what is important, what you need to hide, what you need to duplicate happens here on pages. And then there's themes. Now, maybe you want to start with themes. It really doesn't matter. You can do either way. But what themes does is it changes font. It gives you these different themes to work with, and it allows you to change, it changes the font. So this is the default. If I go to Aristotle, notice how it changed the fonts right there, and it has a yellow line underneath. If I go to Diplomat, same thing, it changes it. So right here, you get the opportunity to choose whatever theme you want to choose, because what happens is it just changes the font. And then you also can change the colors of the banners. So I can change this to green or purple, pink, and there's more when you hit the paint pan. I hope you're getting excited about this, because I really, this is a really great tool for education. And then level and impression. So that's what they look like. You can change that for your themes. All right, let's come back over here to header for a little bit. On your header page, you can also change your header type. So I can click here, and if I only want the title to show, it only shows the title. Banner is what we were looking at just now. You can do a large banner, or you may decide that you want this page to just be a cover page, and then they can click into more, the other pages, to get more information. So you can make a page a cover page. You can just have a large banner, so you can put content beneath the banner, a smaller banner, or just title. Okay, so that's completely up to you. All right, so now here, you get to enter a site name. Notice how when I entered the site name there, it changed the name of the file, and that's pretty typical of the Google products right there. This also gives you the option to add a logo. So if you click here, you can actually import a logo that will go next to your name. Now here's the settings wheel. The setting wheel is where we come here and where you can change your navigation bar. You can change your navigation bar from top to side. And so now your navigation bar is on the side right here, no longer on the top. In settings, you can also upload your logo here. You can decide what you want your viewers to see, because each page has anchors. They can show when the last time is the page was updated, who to contact, so on and so forth. So you have control over some viewer tools. And then you can also set up analytics. Now, analytics is something to get into more, but I would encourage setting up analytics, because analytics will now tell you who has visited and what pages they visited. So you have actual data on who's interacting with your site. So you're able to enable analytics and go get a tracking ID and set that up. And this is a recent addition to the announcement banner. The announcement banner allows you to put something here. And so once you put that announcement banner, you can put a color, you can change the color. And then you click here to show the banner. All right. And there it is. Let's take a look at what our site looks like so far using the preview button. So now our side, our pages are on the side. We have a banner, and that's all we have here. But let's go to the home page, and this is what it looks like. And if you click on the Florida Literacy, it's going to take you to the Florida Literacy website because that was a link. Okay, there you go. All free. And this can be done on a personal Google account, or if you have Google for Education, you're able to use that. If your organization has Google for Education, you're able to do that as well. So let me X out of the preview. All the while we're doing this, this site is not published yet. It's still not published. We're still in the construction zone. We're still working on the pages. We're still dressing up the baby. All right. So now let's talk about the tabs that are up here. These are pretty straightforward: undo and redo. Thank God for those. This is our preview tab that we've been playing around with for a while. And then this would be the link for our site once it gets published. Now this is a very important icon, and I'm going to click here. Earlier I mentioned that sometimes you're going to want to collaborate with people on building your site. We collaborate on our site back in Palm Beach County, you know, so it depends. If you're in a classroom and you're building a site for your learners, I mean, it may be you or it may be your co-teacher. If you're building something out for other reasons, then you may want collaborators. So this is where you come and you share your site and you set up your settings. This is also where you come and you decide if you want to limit your site to just 5 people. Who do you want to be able to get into your site? And this is where you get to choose whether or not you want the editors to be able to publish, change permissions, and add new people. Because as the owner of the site, even though you add people that can edit the site with you, you still have control over whether or not they're able to publish the site. Okay, so this is very important. You want to come in here and see how you share and who you want to share with if you're going to share with groups. Also right here, you can change this right here to see, for example, I'm on the districts. This is not on my personal, this is the district. So I get to decide if I want this to be published to the district or if I just want it restricted to draft to just a few people, whether or not I want them to be able to go public or the district or restricted. Okay, so that's this tab where you add people. Here again is the settings tab, and it takes you back to the same settings that we experienced over on the other side here. The more buttons, the 3 buttons, the caterpillar, just gives you some other options where you can see version histories of the site. You can actually duplicate a site and you can give feedback to Google if you're having problems. Now, if you're going to duplicate a site, I would recommend that you do it early before it gets a lot of content in it, because once it gets too big and too full of content, then it's very hard. So if you're planning to like build a template site and share it with others, just build a template and duplicate that before you start adding content, because it gets a little difficult to duplicate once it has a lot of content on there. And then here's the magic button, publish. Now I'm not going to publish this site because you know it's not going to go publish, but I'm going to go back to my my other site and show you what that looks like in the I do, we do, you do, and go back to our table. I'm going to go back here so we can go and click on the preview to get out of this and go back in the construction zone. That's what I like to call it. All right, notice my publish button. It already has this here because I've already published this site. This is a published site. The reason why this looks like this is because it's not published yet, or it's not, and it's not going to be. I'm not going to publish that. But a published site will have this, and it will also have this drop down, and the drop down will enable you to see your published settings. Now, under your published settings, you're able to give your site a name. it's still going to have, because it's a basic site, it's still going to say sites.google.com/view, and then the name that you give it. So this particular site that I'm in is my gradual release inspired site. I do, we do, you do site. So that's the name I gave it to the site. So this is where you would name your site. Okay. Now, this is where you can preview, and this is new. Notice that this wasn't there before. This is fairly new. You can preview your site before you actually publish it, just in case you have stuff that you don't want to lose. Because once you publish, if you make changes, once you publish the changes, your old stuff is gone, unless you, of course, go back and look at site history. And this allows you to view published site. So again, this can take me to the actual website that's published. So if I click here, it's going to open up a new tab. And we've moved out of the construction zone. And now you're looking at the actual site the way other viewers would see it as a published site. All right. Let's talk more about the button. And then, of course, you can unpublish. You're able to unpublish the site. Like I said earlier, if you decide that you no longer want it there, if you decide that, you know, you're going to do something else, you can unpublish. Okay. Are there any questions in the chat box?
We do have a few in the Q&A.
Okay. All right.
So earlier, someone asked if there are any drawbacks as to privacy and security with using the Google platform because their admin seems to be against them using Google Sheets and Google Drive, etc.
Oh, wow. You know, I've gone to a couple of counties that are like that. Our district is very strict when it comes to technology. So I have to believe that it has to be secure, because we do quite a bit on the Google platform. We have the Google for Education, so we do a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff in our Drive, a lot of stuff in Sheets. We use it a lot, and the Google Classroom, and because we use the Google platform, that's what kind of made it easy for us to transition to online learning, because we just stuck to all the tools that were built inside of Google. The Google Meet was already there. It communicated well with the Google Classroom, you know, so the Google Chrome extensions are there to support the Google Classroom and the Google Meet. So I believe it's fairly secure on the premise that it had to go through our technology department and be approved in order for us to use it.
Right.
So
I will say that it does depend on your IT department and whether they have enough trust with Google.
Exactly.
You know, Google is a very well-developed platform in itself, but you know, it is up to your department technology professional. So other questions, what kind of student usage data can be collected and viewed?
You can collect the number of hits on a page, but notice that I built the surveys I built some of the activities into the website, so that when they completing like the survey shows me completion of data. But in addition to that, if you do the Google Analytics, you do see what pages they visited, what pages are frequented. So I have a feeling that the kudos page on my site here is what they would visit the most. Well, not this site, but this was another class, but here, this one. I have, you know, because they check and they want to be on the leaderboard. So I think I have not run my analytics on this particular site as yet, and I'm planning to. But I would think that they would visit this quite a bit.
All right, more questions. How do you save your work so in case you tap, or sorry, just in case you tap and you need to go back to the site under construction?
Oh, it automatically saves. Everything Google automatically saves. So as you're typing, it's saving. Yeah, I'm thankful for that.
And then
I hope that answers that question.
a few more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is asking for the link to this session site.
I will put that in the chat. It's a bit.ly, actually, if you want to write this down. Let's go right here. You can actually write, oops, it's this one. Let me go to the home screen. You can write down the bit.ly. Like I said, I stopped using PowerPoints for my presentations at conferences. If you've ever been in my sessions, I'm always presenting from this site. And the other sessions that I've done are hidden. They're not shown in navigation, so that's why you don't see them. So usually I will do this and then hide it if I'm not gonna do it again. But this is also an email, and typically I also use this as a training site. So I usually have people log in, like I showed if they attend the session and they don't have their own Google account in the session, I have people log in and do it on here on this email. Attempt to do it on the email. And then I just change the password in a few days. So I usually tell them that you can play around for 5 days, the password's going to change. But again, if you want to play around, all you need to do is open up a personal Gmail and just play around. And I would build something and maybe propose it to your administrator or something and say, look what I did, because here's the thing. The goal here is to get the learners to do this. One of the I think it's this one where there is actually a page that the learners were responsible for populating. Content area. There was a content area project, and there were research teams, and they had to do some research, and they had to populate these areas with the information that they found. And so eventually what you want is to pass this on to the learner so that they're the ones doing this and building this. I tell my learners all the time that when you leave my class, if you go to an interview and they ask you, how good are you with computers? You should be able to say, I'm pretty good. Just by being able to do stuff like this, or sending emails, encouraging them to send emails, stuff like that, getting them acclimated to technology in any way possible. So doing projects like this, this project that I showed you earlier on too, was a project that was done by a teacher. So this was project-based learning. So yeah.
Okay, we have time for a couple more questions. There was interest in seeing the responses for the surveys that
Okay.
you deployed in the beginning of the session. How are they going to be able to access the responses?
You will be able to see the responses on this website, because each of these check-ins, actually I have a third check-in. Let me do that real quick. Whoops. Let me see if I can get that out. All of that is going to be here, and if you want a copy of the form, let me show you where you're going to see that. So right next to this is going to be, the answers are going to populate right here. Your answers are going to populate right here. Just need to refresh it. So on all of these pages, once you click on this website, the answers are right next to them. And then also on the session resources page, I have all the links to the forms right there as well. I have a link to an email if you want to try to, whoops, do you see what I just did? It says, do you see how easy that was? It's just that easy. You click and drag and it's moved.
Let me actually clarify that question. They were interested in knowing how to actually make the responses visible.
Oh, okay. So you want to see it right now. So I would refresh the page. So here's check-in number 1. And I'm on the live side. So now you get to see that. Let's go to check-in number 2. And if I wanted, I could have made that a graph. Here's check-in number 2 on the live side, so it refreshes. And then here is check-in number 3, which you guys are working on. So let's see it coming. Oops. Oops. Check-in number 3 right here. And I don't have any responses to that one as yet. So that's how you would see that. And again, if you are good with creating charts, this could actually be this and a chart. That way your learners are seeing it both ways. Your learners are, and you're exposing them to graphics. So it could be charts and a tables and charts, similar to the one that I have on the home page, where it's a table and a chart. I hope that answers the question. Was that a good answer?
I believe so. I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
Back to the subject of, I know we talked about it saving automatically. How can they access the site later if they close out the window and then come back to it to open it
very
again?
good question. Excellent question. All right. So let me go to my tab right here. Excellent question. So when you're in Google, this is the app selector. This waffle, it's called a waffle, but the official name is app selector. So you can actually click on the app selector. And you could go to sites right here, and it will give you a list of sites. But this one is going to take you to the old site. So I like to go through Drive. I like to go into Drive. And then when you go into Drive, you can actually see your sites. Your sites are going to show up in Drive. The other way to do it is by using the shortcut, the sites.new. And let me show you. Sites.new. When you do sites.new, all you need to do is click on the icon, and it will take you into the library of all sites that you've ever created. So once this comes up, I'll show you. The icon right here, once you click on that, it's going to take you. Actually, I'm glad I'm doing this because I did mention that they had templates, and the templates are in here. So if you don't want to go through the work of creating your own template, you can actually use one of these templates. On the bottom are all the sites that I've created or interacted with. But these are templates. So just do sites.new, click on the sites icon, and it will take you into the library of every site that you've created or that you are an editor, you're allowed to be an editor on. Okay?
Okay. We are just about out of time here, so I want to go ahead and wrap this session up. I do want to remind everybody that if you'd like to participate in more discussion or ask any more questions, we can take questions in the discussion forum on the conference portal. Mm-hmm. So if you have any more questions, you are more than welcome to ask them there, and I'm sure Pamela will
I'll be happy to
participate in that. So thank you again for joining us. This session has been recorded and it will be available on the conference portal as well. Please don't forget to fill out the survey that pops up after the session. Your feedback is very important to us, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference.
My pleasure, everyone.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.